Hello and welcome back to the mat. My name is Tati and today we'll be flowing through a 25-minute hips like honey class. So today's class is focused all around the hips, especially if we've been sitting a lot or feel any kind of tension in our hips or lower back. Then these poses can be a nice way to relieve some tension. If you haven't already subscribed, why not go ahead and quickly click that subscribe button. It really helps support my channel. And with that, I'd say let's get started in a comfortable cross-legged position on our mat. So finding a nice tall spine, relaxing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Gently placing the hands on the knees and just breathing deeply all the way into the belly. Arriving in your practice today, letting go of any thoughts of things you have to do, and then finding your way into all fours, tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, and inhale, peeling the chest open, exhale, rounding the spine, so flowing through a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, expand the chest, belly draws towards the earth, and exhale, doming the spine, linking the inhalation and exhalation, flowing through cat and cow, really warming up the spine, feeling into all the vertebrae along the spine. And then finding back to all fours, tabletop position, stretching the right leg away from you, coming onto your left knee. Left hand is on the mat, and you can either place the right hand on your hip, or you can stretch it all the way up to the sky. Gazing down towards the mat, or up towards the fingertips, and then the option to stretch the right hand up towards the top of the mat. Really feeling into that right side body stretch all the way from the right foot to the fingertips. And then exhale, releasing, sliding the right hand down the extended leg, left arm floats up and overhead. Feeling the left side body stretch in gate pose. And releasing, windmilling the left palm back onto the mat, right arm stretches up towards the sky. And then meeting the right hand alongside the left. And finding into tabletop, switching over to the other side. So coming onto your right knee, the left leg is extended away from you, right palm is on the mat, and left arm stretches up towards the sky. Again, the option to gaze down or up towards the fingertips. And you can also stretch those left fingertips over and towards the top of the mat. So you're really feeling that expansion and opening across the left side body. Exhale, releasing the left hand, sliding it down the extended leg. Right arm floats up and overhead, feeling into the right body stretch. Exhale, releasing the right hand back to the mat. Left palm stretches towards the sky. And then releasing both palms back to the mat into all fours, tabletop position. Tucking the toes, engaging the core muscle, and then pressing yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Pedaling out their legs here, bending into one knee and the other. Maybe shaking the head yes and no. And then just settling in your downward facing dog. You can keep a little bend in the knee and keep the heels lifted if that helps. Draw your thighs towards your belly. And then inhale, stretching the right leg up towards the sky, finding three-legged down dog, rotating out the ankle in one direction, and the other direction. And then bending the knee, drawing the heel towards the bum. Exhale, straighten out the leg, and then stepping it forward between the hands, lowering your left knee, finding into a low lunge. So the hands are framing the right foot, sinking the hip low, gazing forward, and then walking the right arm to the inside of the leg, and you can stay on the palms, finding into lizard pose, or if it's available, you're welcome to come down onto your forearms, sinking both hips towards the earth, melting down into lizard pose. And then inhale, if you are on your forearms, pressing yourself back up, finding into all fours tabletop position and pressing the hips up and back, downward facing dog, giving yourself a little pedal, maybe noticing the difference in the left and right side. And inhale, stretching the left leg up into three-legged dog, rotating out the ankle in one direction, in the other direction. And then bending the knee, letting the heel draw towards the bum. Feeling that beautiful opening across the left hip. And then straightening out the legs, squaring off the hips, rounding the spine and stepping the left foot forward between the palms, dropping the right knee, finding into low lunge. And then walking the left hand to the inside of the left foot, finding lizard. And you can stay on the palms, or once again, option to come down onto the forearms to intensify the stretch. Letting both hips melt towards the earth. With every exhalation, letting yourself melt a little deeper into the pose. If you were on the forearms, gently coming back onto palms, pressing yourself back into all fours tabletop and lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, lots of little steps, walking the feet forward towards the hands and melting yourself into forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, arms sweep up and overhead, palms to touch, bringing them to heart space. And then stepping the legs wide along the mat, so the heels are pointing in, big toes slightly out, and then sitting yourself down into a goddess squat, cactus in the elbows. Inhale, straighten yourself up. Exhale, cactus squat. Inhale, straighten the arms and legs. Exhale, sit it down. And then placing the hands onto the thighs, bending the right elbow, gazing over the left shoulder, feeling that opening across the chest, finding back through center, bending into the left elbow, gazing over the right shoulder. And exhale, coming back through center, straightening the arms and the legs, star pose, and then bringing the palms to prayer at heart space. Walking the feet a little bit closer together, but they're still further than hip width distance apart, heels in, toes out, and setting the hips all the way down into yogi squat. Hands on the mat for support, or bringing the palms to prayer. You can rock gently from side to side, bring some movement into your yogi squat, opening up the groin area and finding stillness, pressing gently the elbows into the knees. Don't worry if your heels don't quite reach the mat. And exhale. Sinking the hips low. And then placing the hands onto the mat, straightening the legs, lifting the hips up, finding into your forward fold. So you can keep a nice deep bend in the knee, hands resting on the mat or grasping opposite elbows, and just letting the upper body melt towards the thighs. Inhale, rolling yourself all the way up to standing. And then exhale, stepping down and finding downward facing dog. Nice long arms. Inhale, right leg sweeps up towards the sky. And exhale, right knee comes towards the right wrist, bending the right leg, left leg stretches out behind you, finding into pigeon pose. So pressing yourself up onto the fingertips, finding a nice long spine, and then exhale, melting yourself forward, either coming onto the forearms or lowering the head to the earth, making sure that you're not rolling over onto the right hip. You might like to place a bolster or a block underneath the right hip for added height. With every exhalation, melting a little deeper into your pigeon pose. Feeling the sensation in the hips and the lower back. And scanning through the body, noticing anywhere else you might feel some sensations. Slowly walking yourself up, pressing the spine straight, and then stepping back into downward facing dog. Taking a moment to take a nice deep breath in, then inhale, stretching the left leg up towards the sky, three-legged dog. And exhale, stepping the left knee to the inside of the left wrist, bending the left leg, right leg stretches back behind you. Inhale, coming onto the fingertips, lengthen the spine. And exhale, folding forward, either staying on the palms, coming down to the forearms, or stretching the arms out in front of you. Sinking into pigeon on the left side. And then inhale, slowly walking the hands back to the body, finding a straight spine, tucking the right toes and stepping yourself slowly back into a downward facing dog. Walking out the feet, bending into one knee and the other knee. And then coming down onto the knees with the knees wide. Melting the upper body down into melting heart pose. So the hips are above the knees, the arms are stretched to the front of the mat, forehead resting on the earth, or if you'd like to take it a bit further, you can also place the chin on the mat. This is quite an intense pose, so take what your body needs today. And from here, bringing the big toes to touch and letting the hips melt towards the heels into child's pose. Breathing deeply. Feeling the gentle curvature of the spine. Remembering to connect to your breath. And slowly rounding yourself up, sitting on the knees, finding a straight spine. Then rolling over one side, bringing the bottoms of the feet to touch. Knees fall out to either side. Clasping the fingers and sliding them underneath the toes. Inhale, finding a nice straight spine. And exhale, rounding forward into seated butterfly forward fold. Breathing in, and with every exhalation, letting the knees draw a little closer to the ground. Feeling the sensation across the right and left hip crease, the spine. Inhale, coming back up, and now the option to slide the feet further forward, so you're forming a diamond shape, and then melting the upper body down. So this is just a bit more of a restorative version of butterfly forward fold. You can really round into your spine here, melting any tension that you might still be holding onto. Inhale, slowly rolling yourself back up, placing the feet on the mat, holding on the inside of the knees, and then rolling yourself slowly all the way down onto the mat, hugging the knees into the chest and gently rocking from side to side, massaging out the lower spine. Opening the arms up into a T shape and letting both knees fall over towards the right side. You can place the right hand onto the knees to help them draw towards the earth, spiraling the chest open, gazing to the sky or over the left fingertips. Or you might like to soften the gaze and close the eyes. Supine twist, so both shoulders are sinking towards the earth. Exhale, coming out of the pose, hugging the knees back into the chest. And then letting both knees fall over towards the left side, arms open in a T. You can place the left hand onto the knees, gazing up or over the right fingertips, sinking both the left and the right shoulder down towards the mat. And it's great to incorporate more twists into our practice if we have a bit of back pain and hip pain. Inhale, slowly coming back through center, hugging those knees back into the chest, and then grasping the outside edges of the feet, drawing the knees towards the armpits, finding happy baby. And you can stay still or you can rock gently from side to side. Option also to squeeze the bottoms of the feet, releasing any tension that might be stored in the feet. Especially if we wear shoes all day, it can be great just to relieve any tension we have here. Exhale, releasing the feet back to the mat, big toes and feet, bottoms of the feet to touch, knees fall away from the midline, finding back into that butterfly shape on our back, palms facing up. letting yourself really sink and relax into the mat. Feeling the aliveness of the breath traveling through the whole body, the gentle rise and fall of the belly and the rib cage as you inhale and exhale. You might like to have the eyes closed for this part of practice to really help yourself draw inwards and clenching the jaw. And you can stay here or stretch the legs away from you, finding into Shavasana, the most important pose in yoga, your Shavasana. And we'll stay here for a few moments in silence, and I'll call us back when it is time. Start to deepen the breath. Notice any sounds in the room around you. Keeping the eyes closed, and gently invite movement back into the body, wriggling the fingers and the toes. Stretching the arms up and overhead, pointing the toes, finding a nice big full body stretch. And then exhale, hugging the knees back into the chest, giving yourself a loving embrace. And then rolling over one side in your own time, gently pressing yourself up into a seated position, keeping the eyes closed, resting the hands on the knees, and just observing how your body feels now at the end of practice, your mental state. And then inhale, stretching the arms up and overhead, palms to touch, bringing the prayer to heart space, bowing the gaze. Namaste. Thank you so very much for joining me today for Hips Like Honey. I really hope that your hips and lower back are feeling deliciously stretched out and that you can go about the rest of your day with ease. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do that, and I'll see you on the mat again real soon. All my love.